Hi everyone, welcome to another Terry Talk. This week wanted to talk about social media, and more importantly, folks are getting fired over social media posts. It's a thing. What you say and what you do on social media turns out can have an impact on your career, can prevent you from getting hired, it turns out, can stall your progression. This is referring to work done by a Harris poll, which was commissioned by the Express Employment Professionals. Took place over a year ago, December 2022, but still relevant. What they found was when they talked to employers, they said 86% of them said they would fire an employee for an inappropriate social media post. 86%. That's about everybody. And it's not just terminations that come into play here, but rather, or as well, 63, almost 2/3 of them, said that they use social media to screen people, and of those people screening, 64% of them went on to say this is a really effective tool, and 41% they said they had actually used social media, scanning social media to commit to or not commit to hiring. In fact, 41% said we didn't hire this person because their social media posts were not on point. So this is a big deal. So what are some of the causes for termination? What's driving this? Number one, 63% of people say, you damage my company's reputation, adios. Revealing confidential information, just a close second at 58%. Talking about illegal drug use or showing illegal drug use, 45%. And then things like underage drinking. That was out of the study by the Harris poll. We also looked at another article that came out and talked about just reviewing newspaper articles and what were sort of the common elements that came out of what's in the news media. And that is as strong as a poll, but it's still interesting information. Racism, 28% of those found in the news media that have been terminated because of social media had made racist social media posts. Workplace conflict came in at 17%, insensitive off-color jokes, 16%, you get violence, and political rants rounding that out as well. So who's being impacted? Well, a lot of people, but where it really hits the news, of course, are those public-facing roles like teacher, police officer, doctors, lawyers, the folks that sort of are front-facing. But it's not limited to those folks. So what's going on? Well, the big issue now is, now we're into privacy concerns. But the reality is this: what you say and do on social media can and probably will be used against you. The line between the personal lives and our private lives, those are blurring. I think about folks who are using a company phone to send text messages back and forth with people. That's property of the company. Work from home hasn't helped here because now where are the boundaries? Working, now I'm at work, but switch gears, now I'm personal, using company equipment and whatnot. Look out, be careful. So all this intertwining of work and our identity, let's face it, folks, your personal brand transcends beyond just what happens at work. It's who you are as well. So it's not so straightforward. Now, people say, well, let's just bring in surveillance. Surveillance is not going to be the answer. A lot of organizations will do it, but they need to inform you and let you know that that's happening. Here's the rub. Almost a quarter of organizations are also saying, hey, build up your brand on social media. Sort of counterintuitive or counter to the point of surveillance. And a lot of us will, befriend coworkers, bosses, and whatnot on our various social media platforms. So even though there may not be a formal surveillance, there's an informal surveillance going on as well. So it's, what about these big corporate overlords looking over us? Well, when we actually ask employees, 88% of those people believe that if a social media post breached confidentiality, said something derogatory about the company, that should lead to termination. So it's not just corporate overreach here. But here's the problem. Most organizations, less than a quarter, have a social media policy. So without a policy, who knows what's on-site and what's off-site? And in today's tight labor market, can you really afford to have this vague notion and people assume they know what's right and assume what's wrong, and then find out after the fact that their assumption was wrong and they're asked to leave the organization, not cool. So we need some policies here. Common sense should prevail. Everything you post can and will probably be seen by clients, customers, and coworkers. Every time you post something, think that way. I know I've been victim of that, where I get super emotional about an issue, I get really angry about something, and I post something. So bring in the old 24-hour rule. Calm down. If it's good enough to post now, it's good enough to post in 24 hours, where you might be able to think a little bit more clearly. If it's a personal post, don't do it during work hours or what you claim to be working hours. That's offside. And use your own device, not the organization's. If you're looking for some good policy on this, that's pretty quick to put together, be happy to help you out. But here's sort of the top things you should consider. Number one, professional conduct. Employees should conduct themselves professionally. Confidential and proprietary information should not be shared. When using social media for personal purposes, know that your actions can and may reflect the organization. So use your privacy settings, manage sharing personal information. Respect and non-discrimination becomes important. Keep your communications respectful, free from discrimination, harassment, any form of bullying, and watch out for copyright laws. And always credit your original sources, like I did with the Harris poll, with the express employment professionals, who are really the ones that brought this information forward to us. Engagement and transparency when you're speaking about the organization. Be clear about your role. Don't misrepresent. Make corrections quickly, etc. And then, social media is likely going to be monitored, so ensure your compliance with the policy. As always, we're always interested to hear your point of view on this. This is an interesting one. Drop your comments down below. Send us a note. Let's engage. Let's have a conversation about this. And we'd love to see what your thoughts are on social media policy. We'll see you next week.